This is the Writer's Block. Let's move to In Case You Missed It. Barry Tramel in Oklahoma City, Cedric Golden in Austin. And this week, Cedric, the NFL passed new rules on replay review, and they've expanded the options for coaches to challenge plays. Pass interference, both defensive and offensive, is now reviewable, both calls and non-calls. Do you like this expanded replay review in the NFL?
I love the fact that this segment is called In Case You Missed It, because that ref missed that pass interference call in the NFC Championship game and cost Drew Brees a chance to win another Super Bowl. So that's a great addition. It might make the games longer, but don't we want to get the calls right, Barry? That's the key. We want the calls to be right. We want the money time, crunch time calls to be 100% correct. If a coach throws a challenge flag, even though he has no chance of winning that challenge, I'm fine with that as long as they get it right. The Super Bowl would have had a different face last year if those two refs did not. I mean, if one of them had called the flag, then you got a different Super Bowl and maybe a different outcome. I am very happy that the NFL decided to be proactive in this thing, even though it's coming across as reactive. They probably should have did it years ago. I will say this, Barry, it's probably the most difficult call to make in sports, pass interference. So giving these coaches these challenges is going to take a lot of pressure off the officials. Maybe they'll call pass interference, even if it might not be pass interference, knowing they have the luxury of having instant replay, make sure they get it right.
What's the chances that coaches, Bill Belichick, I'm talking to you, have elaborate plans to manipulate this new rule, ways to challenge plays that we haven't even foreseen yet, find fouls that occurred away from the ball, all those kinds of things? What's the chances that this becomes a rabbit hole we wish we hadn't gone down?
There's a good chance, and we all know that Bill Belichick plays chess while the rest of the world's playing checkers. I think that that's going to happen, and I think that the league is going to have to be proactive with these coaches and go, look, if a play happens 20 yards away from the ball, don't be expecting us to overturn it. If a guy's holding and it doesn't really matter, don't do that. As long as it's an instant replay on pass interference, I think it's all good, because that's a down the field play with potential game-changing circumstances and livelihoods on the line. So I don't mind that at all. But the ticky-tack stuff does give me a little bit of pause. You know we're going to see some of that. I just hope the refs are ready for it.
Here's what concerns me the most. It's not the challenge flag coming out after the penalty flag has fallen. It's the challenge flag coming out after no penalty was called. The hand fighting, the bumping, the things that happen on virtually every play, no call. The coach throws the challenge flag. Then all of a sudden, the replay reviewers are going to have to sit there and say, well, yeah, by the letter of the law, technically, there was some pass interference here. But my question is, do you think the NFL is going to allow common sense and a little bit of context to come into play here and do what the officials on the field do, which is say, maybe, but technically that was pass interference, but we're not going to have it. We don't believe there was enough to really call it here. Do you think the replay review folks are going to have the same mentality?
I sure hope so. And you scared me because you said NFL and common sense in the same question. That's frightening to me, because sometimes this league tries to pride itself on reinventing the wheel. This is something new. This is something that should help the game, but I do worry that it's going to end up with a lot of little things, ticky-tack problems that are going to come about and extend these games to well over 4 hours. I hope that they're not going to be trying to review all this incidental contact, because there's a lot of infighting between the big receivers and the cornerbacks. That's part of the game. To me, I'm more excited about the ball in the air coming down to a receiver and a cornerback, and letting the pictures speak for themselves. If that happens, it's going to be an improved quality of officiating. Things like the NFC Championship game won't happen, and we'll have the right teams who are deserving to play in Super Bowls.
Well, Cedric, it's been fun. It's been an exciting week. Next week promises to be the same. We'll get back together again then for another segment of the Writer's Block. This has been Barry Tramel in Oklahoma City, Cedric Golden in Austin, Texas. We will talk to you next week.